Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me, and I am back. I'm back with part 5 of What If Deku had a half fire, half lightning quirk. Seems I'll have been enjoying this series, so I'm glad to give the series out to y'all as much as possible. And yeah, I don't really gotta say much else. We'll be finishing up this series, not in this part, but probably the next part, and then then we'll have a compilation of the or a movie version of the series come out as well, and then we'll start up some new stuff that I have in mind. Yeah, that's about it. I'm not gonna waste that much more of your time, and we're gonna get right into the what if. Let's get it. The Forest Training Camp. It's somewhere that they can hone their skills and truly get that much stronger. The goal for Izuku is to basically get more strength with utilizing his lightning and fire quirk, and on top of that, get more used to it. After the little incident that happened, it definitely put in the back of his mind that he needs to be a little careful, and on top of that, needs to be paying as close attention as possible. Because frankly, nobody wants to just throw their life away for, well, no reason at all. Izuku knows this, and he doesn't want to have himself get hurt in the long run, so he'll make sure that he doesn't. But the training is very, very brutal. All it is for Izuku is outputting his fire and outputting his lightning as much as possible. They even have a certain area for him to do so that would allow him to more or less output this crazy wave of power in a place that nobody gets hurt. He'll utilize it over and over and over again as much as possible, just so that he can strain his body and then rebuild it back up in a more suitable form, more or less just utilizing it as much as possible to then equip himself better for next time. Izuku would continue to do this more and more and more and more, and eventually it would get to the point that he would feel relatively comfortable slowly but surely with all of this utilization of his quirk. But to be fair, he'll never truly know if he can sustain his quirk properly throughout a long period of time, and how strong he can really amp himself up in the future, but at least he's getting somewhat used to it. A day would pass though, and this eerie feeling would fall over the camp. Everything would seem okay initially. Everything would seem fun, as if everything is going fine. Everything is perfect. They would go about their training, they would do everything normal, and they would even have a little bit of off time to do a bit of kind of a game type of thing with all of the class. But this is where things get really weird. Really, really odd. Because that's when things kind of go off the rail relatively quickly. What's going off the rails is exactly what happens during the Forest Training Camp, and that's a villain invasion. Izuku would be eating his dinner, thinking that everything is just fine, and think, you know what, I'll take food up to this kid that decided to leave before, well, dinner was even ready. So he heads off to give him said food, and when he arrives, he tries to do so, but the boy is staring at something in the distance, completely petrified. And of course, well, Izuku has no idea what's going on until he turns. It's a giant monster of a man by the name of Muscular. Muscular stares at Izuku, pointing at the boy, saying that to make this easy, allow him to capture Izuku, and he'll let the other kid walk. But they need Izuku, and they also need someone else by the name of, what was it? Bakugo? Of course, Izuku hears this and immediately charges toward Muscular, electrocuting him with his lightning and then blasting him with his fire. Muscular says that he's going to have to do far more than what he's doing now, because they planned for this. They planned for Izuku's lightning quirk, and there is no way he'll be able to output enough to put him down. Muscular would begin to swell up even more and would begin to charge towards Izuku, as Izuku tries to fend him off with lightning and also fire. Yes, it would slow him down to an extent, but not enough that it really would matter. Izuku would immediately grab Kota as he darts off, pushing him toward the edge and more or less allowing Kota to leave to a safe spot, telling him to run to Aizawa now. He darts back up, Izuku would dart back up toward Muscular as he strikes him with lightning and fire while being mid-air. Muscular says that he knows he can't stay there the entire time, and he'll have to come down eventually. Izuku would continue his onslaught, striking Muscular over and over and over again as much as possible, trying to make some sort of presence, make some sort of advantage. Of course, this is easier said than done. Izuku doesn't even know what's holding this guy even up right now. He's blasting him over and over and over again and nothing's working. He might have something within his body, maybe something that's like an insulator, reducing as much as basically reducing all of this power that Izuku is pumping into him. But maybe he can overload him. Maybe he can knock him out via some way. Izuku then charges forward as if it's like some sort of blaze of glory, spinning over and over again as he crashes into Muscular, flying upward. Izuku hasn't utilized his quirk like this ever, but he's going to try now. He begins flying Muscular up, and Muscular begins to punch him and breaking bones in his body as he does. Izuku using an aura of electricity and lightning to basically hold Muscular's arms away from him and make sure that he can't more or less squeeze him to death. Izuku flies him toward the clouds as he pushes him up, and Muscular thinks that he'll just fall to the ground. I mean, this is fine. He's lived and survived far worse than this. And just as Muscular thinks it's over, Izuku would reach his hand, his left hand, toward the clouds and begin to summon lightning that he never knew he could, and a giant lightning bolt strikes down on Muscular, slamming not only him but also Izuku toward the ground below. He slams back onto the mountain, and Izuku would see a Muscular to the side of him, out cold, completely done. It seems that the muscles that he has begin to atrophy and the nerve endings begin to stun him, and it more or less paralyzed him. And Izuku lays there, moving his body, feeling the pain all over, and he realizes that at least he doesn't have the same damage he did before, but he basically can't move. He's stuck there. And just as he tries to move, he looks up to see a man standing above him in a weird outfit, throwing a marble at his face as he's just is put in this realm that he has no idea where he's at. Eventually, he would arrive in an unknown area, an unknown building. And when he would arrive in that building, he would be confused, extremely confused. He would be looking around thinking that he must have been captured, which he would be correct, but he looks to his left to see that Bakugo is there as well. Izuku immediately would try to break free, but it seems like he can't. It seems that he's surrounded by insulators that would absorb everything that he would output, from flames to also lightning. Bakugo would wake up and try to more or less escape as well, but he would struggle too, trying to do so. But Izuku would tell him that it doesn't look like there's anything to prevent Bakugo from using his quirk. As he says this though, about a couple minutes later, people would walk in, the League of Villains. The League of Villains would walk in and begin speaking to both of them, talking to Bakugo more specifically about the power he holds, and on top of that he could become one of them, a villain, someone that could do anything they ever wanted to do. They know that he's interested in it, just the way he acts, the bravado. It's obvious. They look toward Izuku though and say that they don't really need him, but there is something they want to use him for. They begin to strap him down even more, and they tell him that they only need half of him technically, but they know how strong he currently is and how much power he can output. They have a bit of an energy issue when creating some of these monstrous Nomus, and they know that he can fry nerves. That includes the nerves within the brain, stemming exactly and basically stemming exactly from the front to the back. Izuku would be able to eliminate all senses from the Nomus quicker than any machine could possibly do so they can have Nomus just like Kurogiri. Izuku struggles to try and get out. He even tries to use his lightning quirk, but nothing. Tries to use his fire, but it's absorbed. They laugh at him, saying that there is no getting out. They've already made every single bit of contribution to make sure that he can't move. They would look toward Bakugo and ask him what he thinks. And he doesn't, they say that he doesn't really have a choice, because all they have to do is utilize his friend here to wipe all the nerves of his body, and then he'll become more or less a glorified doll. Immediately, Bakugo is shocked to hear this, and he would concede, saying that he'll become a villain. He sees the productivity in it. He can do whatever he wants. He can do whatever he pleases. It's interesting. They would allow him to get out of the braces or the handcuffs, and they would tell him that this is a proper idea, that this is a great choice by him, because frankly, it would all go downhill otherwise. They click a button, and Izuku begins to basically be completely engulfed in some weird contraption as he begins to get carted off by some scientists. Bakugo would ask what the hell they're doing with the nerd, and basically they would say that he's going to be their battery and also their experiment in one. Bakugo would look shocked at this, but just as he would look shocked, Shigaraki would realize that Bakugo has no intention of letting or basically joining them at all. Bakugo would immediately slam an explosion in Shigaraki's face and begin to explode everything around, and eventually send a condensed explosion toward that ball that has Izuku trapped in. As it explodes, it opens up a hole, and Izuku is able to more or less shimmy out of it, and Bakugo sends another explosion that he knows will hurt Izuku, but will break the chains and break all the contraptions within it, shattering it and allowing Izuku to slightly escape. Izuku would then smirk as electricity would engulf the area. He would immediately grab Bakugo and shove him toward the ground, because basically it would be the best way to avoid a lightning strike. He would strike everyone else above that or around them as he lays on the ground next to Bakugo, and it would knock everybody out instantaneously. But just as Izuku believes that he just won, that they just beat them, he has a realization of something. He feels as if someone has just entered the room. He blasts the wall open, telling Bakugo he needs to go now. As he turns and gets up, someone grabs him by the neck. A man in a mask. A terrifying mask. It looks as if he needs it to breathe, needs it to survive, and Izuku knows exactly who this may be. It's All For One. All For One would then have a portal appear beneath him and Izuku and the League of Villains as they would drop through. The wall that opens up would then reveal a bunch of heroes that were about to siege the area, but didn't do it in time. Izuku is gone in the grasp of All For One, and on top of that, well, Bakugo is standing there useless, as if he couldn't do a single thing. And that will live with Bakugo for the time being, or will hurt him in the time being. Izuku has been captured, truly captured now, and whatever they're going to do with him is a terrifying aspect. They want to make Nomu after Nomu something that would be extremely powerful. They can even combine tons and tons of quirks into one Nomu and don't have to worry about it running rampant, because the utilization of Izuku's quirk will do just that. If he utilizes his own quirk to basically more or less control of these monsters, well, that will be beneficial entirely. But it all starts with one person being under control, Izuku Midoriya. If they make him like Kurogiri, someone that will obey every single command no matter what, the production of the Nomus will increase tenfold. And on top of that, the power that someone like Izuku can hold with a more durable body will be insane. The perfect weapon. Izuku Midoriya once wanted to be a hero, but soon he'll be the perfect weapon for All For One and the League of Villains. What will happen to society now that Izuku seems to be in a horrible situation and now in control? Well, you'll have to find out in the final part of What If Deku had a half fire, half lightning quirk. And if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a sub, make sure to leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have an amazing day. Later.